So my name is David Daly. I am a United States citizen. I am a service-connected veteran. I have a vacation home in Puerto Nueva, Mexico, Baja California, for the specific purpose of isolation. I suffer from a depressive anxiety disorder. My anxiety will turn to anger and rage very rapidly. I do not maintain myself very well in social situations. This morning, a young man approached my home and he told me he did not have a job and requested 50 pesos. I said no. He then insisted, and I said, unfortunately, I'm not a bank. At which point he said, please do not talk to me that way. And I said, excuse me, but this is my house. I may talk any way I choose. He then invited me downstairs to see if I should talk to him that way there. And I said, sure, let's play catch. And I threw a small ball that I had to him on the street. He failed to catch it, so I went downstairs to retrieve my ball, but I also picked up a garden hoe as I exited my front door, just in case he wanted to play catch with something other than a ball. At that point, he decided it was not a good idea to play catch and chose to walk away. Two Puerto Nueva, Primo Tapia municipal police officers happened to be driving past. They stopped. The young man approached them and spoke with him, so they know exactly who he is. They then drove away. He then turned around and continued to insist on tormenting and harassing me, at which point I picked up my ball, and he decided he wanted to play ball, so I accidentally dropped it. He decided to kick it down the hill. As I was running down the hill to retrieve it, I bumped into him accidentally, at which point he decided it was appropriate to physically attack me. He punched me in the face multiple times. He then kicked me in the side. I put myself into a child's pose to protect my head and my ribs, where he continued to kick and torment me like I had done something wrong by not paying him whatever reason he needed 50 pesos. After he realized that he could kick me and punch me all he wanted and all I was going to do there was lay in a child's pose, he decided it was in his best interest to walk away. He then stomped on my glasses so that they were broken into 3 pieces. Go ahead, and I glued them back together with some fishing wire and things just to have something on my face. One of my neighbors borrowed me some super glue. At that point, I thought the ordeal had ended and it was no big problem. Throughout the day, I had gone swimming to hopefully relax the rib because that was the only thing that was sore this morning. Right over here. Yet later in the day, probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock, my knee started to swell and become extremely painful. I cannot bend it to the normal bending places that it normally bends. At which time I then informed my attorney, Mr. Michael Giroux, that I needed emergency assistance and I was going to transport myself to the VA at La Jolla, where I contacted the nurse advice line 5 times to be disconnected as I requested assistance in regards to crossing the United States-Mexico border at San Isidro point of entry, utilizing either the Sentry, which I do not have at this point, or the medical lanes, which I was told you have to make prior arrangements for. At that point, I then continued to drive, and I sat at the border for 2 hours and 19 minutes so that one young man could ask me and search my vehicle. We had a conversation about my service as well as his. I then proceeded forward, where the man at the gate took my identification and then started to search my vehicle again. He asked me the exact same questions the original agent did. I answered him no. He then asked me the same questions a second time. I answered him no. And then I answered him no for a third time just to make sure he was clear that no, I did not have any fruits, vegetables, drugs, or alcohol in my vehicle. He still continued to search. He then decided to explain, I had the camera rolling so that I could document it, where he informed me that it was illegal to videotape myself in my vehicle because I was at an inspection point for the United States. We had a few words exchanged in regards to, I thanked him for his service, and he told me how big of a chip I had on my shoulder, which I was very grateful for. At that point, I was then allowed back into my home country so I could seek medical attention here at the Veterans Hospital in La Jolla. I drove myself here. I checked in after I did my COVID inspection, And now I'm waiting to be seen by a physician so my left knee can be x-rayed, take a look at my right rib to see if there's anything that's actually going on there, and just do a head-to-toe overview in regards to things I might not notice because the pain in my knee is so severe, I might not be noticing something else that's going on.